The fourth fastest 400-meter runner in human history is a young Nigerian. For 27 years, Michael Johnson has been the world record holder. Up until now, no one has even come close. And Johnson said something that ought to scare every runner alive when he saw that figure. Here's what no one is telling you about this child, though. Every man who has ever put that record in danger began running as a young child. We're talking about children who were 6 or 7 years old before they started elementary school and before they lost their first tooth, before they could tie their own shoelaces. Their parents were taking them to training sessions. They had basically lived their entire lives doing nothing, but this by the time they made it to the Olympics. However, this child began participating in the sport at the age of 14, a full adolescent in secondary school, at a time when all the other athletes who were destined for greatness had already achieved greatness. When they heard his age, every coach in Nigeria muttered, "Too late." Years ago, the window was closed. A world-class runner cannot be created from the ground up at the age of 14. It has never been carried out. It shouldn't be feasible. He is now 0.2 of a second behind Johnson's world record 6 years later. Your preconceived notions about what is feasible in this sport will be challenged by the tale of how he got there. Northwest Nigeria's Kaduna is not a city associated with elite sports, Olympic training facilities, or a pipeline that creates quarter-mile legends. In this bustling metropolis in northern Nigeria, where resources are scarce and life is difficult, the prospect of competing in the Olympics is something that occurs to people in other places. On May 14, 2006, Samuel Ogazi was born there. He didn't run. He was only a young child. And in 2019, at the age of 14, he attended the Kaduna School Athletics Championships just because it was occurring. And he was there, not because he had prepared for it or because a talent scout had discovered him. Sonny Muhammad, a local coach, was observing. Muhammad has worked at the grassroots level throughout his career. His name is not well known. He doesn't work as a university coach or make appearances in international sports media. He simply finds children in Kaduna and helps them develop into something. Additionally, he noticed something that caused him to pause while he saw Samuel Ogazi run that day. He drew the child away. He claimed to have something. The entire tale is included in just one discussion. Everything that follows stems from that moment in 2019 on a track in Kaduna, when an unknown coach saw a 14-year-old who had never competed before and felt he was worth trusting in. Ogazi was winning national youth titles a year later. Give that some thought. He won at the national level in Nigeria just a year after competing in his maiden race. That is not a typical course of development. That's something completely different. The problem with being Nigeria's fastest adolescent is as follows. The world is not necessarily paying attention. It does not imply that the resources are available. It does not imply that the road is obvious. It simply indicates that you have a year of experience and a lot of potential in a nation where potential is not enough to get you very far. Samuel Ogazi receives a scholarship to the University of Alabama in 2023. Everything ought to click at this point. One of the most prestigious 400-meter teams in American collegiate athletics is Alabama. Alabama plays in the SEC, which is the top athletic conference in the nation. Every weekend's competition, coaching, and facilities are entirely different from anything Ogazi has encountered in Kaduna or anywhere else in Nigeria. In January 2024, he travels to Alabama for his first indoor season. He runs 46.30 in his debut indoor 400-meter event. To put things in perspective, that is a reasonable time for a first try. However, 46.30 does not grant you an individual spot in the NCAA indoor championships. College guys with the fastest 400-meter speeds clocking at 45 seconds or less. The men competing in the Olympics are 43 and 44 years old. He's not even eligible for indoor nationals. Imagine the sensation of that moment. On a scholarship, you departed Nigeria. Your career is being followed by everyone in Kaduna. You are meant to be unique. Additionally, you are not eligible to compete in the collegiate national championships as an individual. His name is still unknown in the American sports world. He is a Nigerian adolescent who has been competitively running for 4 years in an attempt to make it in the world's top college athletic conference. The difference seems huge. However, Ogazi starts to reveal to the world what Muhammad truly witnessed on that track in 2019 as the outdoor season approaches. The 400-meter coach at Alabama, Blaine Wiley, determined Ogazi was deserving of a scholarship after witnessing him compete in Nigeria. At a program like Alabama, that choice is not taken lightly. With 4 years of expertise, they are not in the business of gambling on youngsters from West Africa. Based on what they honestly think an athlete can become, they make thoughtful selections. Wiley was making a statement when he extended that scholarship to Ogazi. "This kid is not just fast in Nigeria," he said. "This child is going to be incredibly quick." Over the course of the following 2 years, Wiley added more than simply speed to Ogazi. It was tactical intelligence, racercraft, and the capacity to run a 400-meter race at the top level, when winning or losing depends not only on your speed, but also on your comprehension of every moment of the race. The raw material was discovered by the coach from Kaduna. The world was going to learn about it in Paris, thanks to the Alabama system. Men's 400-meter final. Stade de France, Paris Olympics, August 7, 2024. Nigeria's first 400-meter Olympic finalist in 36 years, Samuel Ogazi, is 18 years old and the youngest competitor. The renowned Innocent Egbinite, who competed in the 1988 Seoul Olympics, was the last Nigerian to reach this final. 36 years, a whole generation of Nigerian athletes. And this Kaduna child, who began running at the age of 14, has entered the world's largest 400-meter competition. One of the best 400-meter races in Olympic history is what transpired next. Quincy Hall won gold in 43.40 after emerging from nowhere in the final straight. A European record of 43.44 was set by British athlete Matthew Hudson-Smith. In 43.74, Zambia's Muzala Samakonga won bronze. Every man in the race, including Christopher Bailey, Karani James, and Jareem Richards, was a seasoned professional athlete with years of international experience. Ogazi completed 44.73. He came in 7th. And before you think 7th is a letdown, allow me to explain. His age is 18. For 4 years, he has been a serious runner. In the race he is competing in, the top 3 men all finished under 43.75. There is a significant distance between him and the podium, but it is not the difference between a mediocre and exceptional athlete. It is the difference between men in their prime and teenagers just beginning their careers. It is not a ceiling to be 7th in such race. An arrival is ranked 7th in that race. Nigeria is aware of this. The world of athletics is aware of this. Ogazi also returns home with something worth more than a medal. He knows exactly what he needs to do when he returns home. Here's what the data reveals, though. Although placing 7th at the age of 18 is impressive, it is not the world record. Even the Nigerian national record is not 7th. That record was set in 1987 by Innocent Egbinite, who ran 44.17. It had been there for 37 years. Even if Ogazi is excellent, he is still 2/10 of the player Nigeria has been hoping to replace since 1988. Alabama's collegiate record is far behind that of the world's top men. In 2018, Michael Norman broke the NCAA record with 43.61. That was 8 years ago. Since then, no one in collegiate athletics has touched it. Music Michael Johnson's world record of 43.18, which was established in Seville in 1999, appears to be from a completely different sport. That record has stood for 27 years. The world's top runners have acknowledged that they would never surpass 43.18. At the 2016 Rio Olympics, Wade Van Niekerk came the closest with a time of 43.03. He was unable to do it twice. Therefore, the honest response to the question of whether Ogazi can truly close that gap is that no one knows. One thing is speed, maintaining progress year after year, maintaining good health, and gaining the tactical maturity to regularly compete at the top level are all very different. He must demonstrate that this was not Paris. He needs to demonstrate that he is still improving. Put it in the comments section now. Did you really think that Ogazi, who was 18 when he finished 8th in the Paris final, would be so close to a 27-year-old world record 2 years later? I'm curious as to who truly anticipated this. Ogazi returns in 2025. SEC title, NCAA outdoor title. The timings are becoming faster, the racercraft is becoming sharper, and he is winning consistently. He is now dangerous in addition to being gifted. He then runs 44.02 in Athens in May 2026. The 1987 Nigerian national record of 44.17, held by Innocent Egbinite for 38 years, has been surpassed. After that, he runs 43.82 and 43.38. He breaks the record 3 times in a single month, not just once. After a brief period of silence, Nigeria erupts. 4 years ago, no one outside of Kaduna had heard of the man who would go on to become the quickest Nigerian to run the 400 meters. A 19-year-old who began running at a school meet broke the record that characterized a whole generation of Nigerian athletes, but he is not finished. NCAA Championships, Hayward Field, Eugene, Oregon, June 12, 2026. In the 400-meter final, Samuel Ogazi is lined up. He sprints 43. Music, 38 seconds. Michael Norman's collegiate record of 43.61, which has stood since 2018, was broken by that. Absent, Ogazi became the fourth fastest man in 400-meter history. As a result, not the fourth fastest Nigerian, not the fourth fastest African, but music, the fourth fastest person in history to run this event anywhere in the world. Now consider what Michael Johnson, who has dominated this event for over 27 years, might say as that moment approaches. The world record he achieved in Seville in 1999, 43.18, has stood the test of time. Since then, every generation of runners has encountered it and failed. And now, a 20-year-old Kaduna kid who had never participated in a competitive race before turning 14 is just 0.20 seconds away from it. At this level, Johnson understands what 0.20 seconds feels like. When a 20-year-old is already that close, he understands what that entails. He has declared in public that the world record will be surpassed. He has stated that there is talent for it somewhere in the world. Furthermore, he is fully aware of what he is witnessing if he is keeping an eye on Eugene's current situation. At 20 years old, 43.38 is the fourth fastest time ever recorded, 0.20 off the world record. Repeat 43.38. Something occurred after the record fell that was entirely overlooked by the majority of the sports media. Samson Mohammed's coaching club, Dynamic Athletics, back in Kaduna, issued a statement. Coach Samson Mohammed, "You build a champion from the ground up," they stated. Samuel Ogazi made history as the first Nigerian to run under 44 seconds thanks to your commitment at the grassroots level. Not Ogazi Muhammad, the coach that no one outside of Kaduna had ever heard of. Nigeria recognizes your efforts and honors you for creating a record breaker and hoisting our flag high. The man who drew a 14-year-old aside and informed him he had something while witnessing a school athletics final in 2019 without any cameras or fanfare. That's where 43.38 really begins. Not at Hayward Field in Eugene, not at Alabama, and not at the Olympics in Paris. The story begins in 2019 on a dusty route in Kaduna, where a coach is working alone. The fastest man in Nigerian history is currently 0.20 seconds away from a 27-year-old world record. He is 20 years old. 2 years remain till LA 2028. Ogazi will turn 22, which is a prime age for a 400-meter runner. The entire pitch, everything on the line. Home Olympics for the Americans who defeated him in Paris. I would like you to let me know what you think in the comments. Samuel Ogazi, 22, was born in Los Angeles in 2028. Does he become the greatest 400-meter runner in history by surpassing Michael Johnson's 1999 world record of 43.18, or does the record remain for another generation? Put it down below. Every comment is read.